Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
IVM Likes is an IVM production, and if you enjoy listening to our pop culture discussion, you should check out our brand new show, Bollywood Scene Stealers. Hosted by journalist Indu Mirani, who sits down to chat with Bollywood's most famous character actors like Ranveer Shori, Satish Kaushik, Gulshan Grover, and more. Episodes are out every Monday. Check it out. Welcome to another episode of IVM Likes. Today I am sitting with Naveen, who's one of our producers, who produces a show called Geek Fruit, and Cyrus, and in fact hosts his own show called Keeping It Queer.
Yes.
And we have special guest Alika on the show, who does all our amazing design work for us. And I'm Sharanya, and so we're going to do, Naveen's going to recommend a TV show, Alika's going to recommend a book, and I'm going to recommend a podcast. And in our second segment that we still have not named, we're going to discuss fictional characters that inspired us to do something. I mean, may not be really important stuff. May not even be wise inspirations. But we did something. Alright, so let's start this episode. Let's start with Naveen, who's going to recommend a movie.
No, a TV show.
Damn it, a TV show.
Alright, so I'm not a big fan of anime as such, you know. People usually recommend a lot of anime to me and I'm like, whatever. But then I saw Netflix's trailer for Death Note, which came out and it's coming out on August 25. It's a movie and it's again like been into controversies about whitewashing and they hiring Willem Dafoe as one of the central characters. And I'm a big Willem Dafoe fan. I wanted to study what he played. So when I researched what he played, it was a demon, a demon of death. And I researched the show a little bit more and I found out that it's actually based off a manga, which is now a proper series of 37 episodes called Death Note.
Right.
And in that, is basically a book falls down from the Shinigami world, from the dead god world, into human world, and a high school student picks it up. Now this kid is a genius and is bored of life in general, so he wants to spice it up by basically killing criminals off by writing their name on the book. So his first attempt is just like a trial, and one of the main criminals who's right now hosting a kind of, he's kind of has a bunch of kids under hostage. So he kills him first and he's like, okay, this worked. So he starts killing criminals left, right and center. And soon enough, the dead god himself comes down and talks to him like in this very menacing, and it's got a very weird tone. So the dead god says that there are some rules to it. You can't just go around killing people. You have to like think about it and you have to be practical about it. So he does that, and this kid is too smart for his own good, and nobody can actually match him. There's no cops who can catch him or anything. So there's an investigator who's brought in who's called L. There's no idea who the person is.
Okay.
And to kill the person, this kid needs their name and their face. And because he does not know L's name and face, he can't kill that person.
Okay.
And now L is the only one who's smart enough to kind of like, track him down basically. So, for example, there's a scene where he first addresses the killer. They call him Kira based on the English word killer. And he says that he brings out a person and says that I am L and I'm here to find you. And he writes his book, and that's a dummy criminal who's planted on the press conference.
Okay.
And they're like, this broadcast was only in Japan and was only meant for like this area. So I know you're in Japan now. So like the world is gone, only Japan. So he narrows his investigation down.
Correct.
So from being like a mystical, death kind of thing, it becomes a thriller and stays like a thriller for the
Nice. So it's investigative plus it's kind of mystical
outsmarting, so they are
nice.
both outsmarting each other at every step. And I was really invested in this. I really liked, like they kind of, so the main problem I have with anime, from what I watched, is the over the top expression and the loud noises and the voices of the girl characters are just whatever. But they have toned it down in this one, and they actually have great music, great storytelling, great dialogue, great character arc. So I think this is a great recommendation to watch, and if the movie turns out to be shit, then this is definitely what you should first watch.
Okay.
Plan.
Nice.
So it's called Death Note. It's made by Sugumi Oba. He actually, nobody knows Sugumi Oba's gender either. They don't know his face. So he's based L off his own personality.
That's
so really interesting
amazing.
that way. Yeah.
Every time I hear Willem Dafoe's name, I think of this really bad joke. I'm pretty sure you've heard it. On, I think it was on How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, where Willem Dafoe's name sound like a frog and a parrot.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe.
Marshall does it on the lip. I remember this. Yeah.
I've been spared of this joke all this time.
See, now you can never unknow it.
Yeah.
I know.
Alright, next up, Alika.
Okay, so I'm gonna recommend an anthology for a change, not a book per se. It's called Rogues. It was released like I think a couple of years ago in 2014, I think around June. So it's a bunch of original short stories written by lots of different authors A lot of them are like fantasy, sci-fi authors. I'll give you their names soon. Edited by George R.R. Martin and Gardner Dozois.
Oof.
Now I'm excited.
Yeah. It's a cross-genre anthology, but it's got like a theme. So the theme is rogues. It's all about, your anti-heroes, your swashbucklers, your opportunistic highwaymen, your crime syndicate people. And it's across a lot of genres. So you have fantasy, you have sci-fi, you have historical fiction, crime stories, whatever. And there are stories by a lot of big names. So you have, and I'm, by the way, in the middle of reading this, so I haven't actually read all the stories, but the ones I've read so far, so good. There's stories by George R.R. Martin, there's stories by Patrick Rothfuss, which I guess is set in the same universe as his the Name of the Wind series. There's a story by Neil Gaiman, which is set in his Neverwhere series.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice. Oh my god, now I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's called How the Marquis Got His Coat Back. It's set with the character of the Marquis Doug Cabaras, if I'm not wrong, from the Neverwhere series. It's got a story by Garth Nix, who's written the Abhorsen trilogy. And Paul Cornell has written a story in it. He's written episodes for Doctor Who. I don't know if you guys remember. There were a bunch of episodes he wrote.
If only the writers got as much coverage as the one who
As
played
the
Doctor
doctors
Who,
also,
yeah.
yeah.
I know. That would... well, there are some who got
So
coverage
I have
for
seen
wrong
you lug this
reasons.
book around. It's
Yeah.
not a short book. So how
Yeah, it's a
long are
very fat
each
one.
of the stories by each of the authors?
I mean, they are like about 20-30 pages
Okay,
each.
so they're kind of short stories only.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
short stories. There are like 21 stories in this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
And the book's great for like weightlifting,
Yeah.
just so you know.
I see your shoulder muscles are really...
Yeah.
I know
The biceps, man.
They're all bulging. I feel so powerful.
I'm going to get it on my Kindle,
Yeah.
make my brain bigger. Right?
There's some really interesting stories in it. So I'm going to tell you like about my two favorite ones.
Okay.
So my favorite one is written by Scott Lynch, who's written the Lies of Locke Lamora series.
I love that series. Oh my god, I don't know anybody else who's read it. Alika, let's talk after the show.
Let's do
Oh,
that.
talk on this show. That's the whole point of the show.
No, I need an episode dedicated to the Lies of Locke
Okay,
Lamora.
cool.
Let's do that.
Coming soon.
Yes. So he wrote a story called A Year and a Day in Old Theradane, and it's amazing. There's like a bar made out of the skeleton of a dragon. There are people who have been turned to statues and carry lamps because they've been criminalized. It's really cool. Sorry, I have weird tastes in fiction. And my second favorite story is one by Michael Swanwick, which is I think it was called Tawny Petticoats. It's set in an alternate history New Orleans, and the vibe is amazing. Again, there are like zombies in the fields, there are sea serpents who carry carriage, there are pygmy mastodons who drag the like pirate booty through the fields. The settings are amazing.
It's a good way to get into these authors as well.
Yeah.
If you haven't read them or you haven't heard of them.
Yeah.
That
It's like
makes
a
sense.
gateway to their writing.
Like
Yeah.
a gateway drug to writing.
To writing.
Yes.
To sci-fi. And it's mostly, I mean, that is the genre primarily, right?
No, I mean, there are a bunch of like crime stories which are set in modern day with
Okay.
like, cell phones and stuff and all that.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of stuff for everyone. There's sci-fi, there's fantasy, there's like a thriller story there. There's a horror story in there also.
So this dragon bar, does the wing also have bones or how is it exactly?
So there is a wing which extends, and like each of the bones goes into a separate area, and each of the bones houses like rooms.
Okay.
And so you can like there's a room for like only drinks. There's a room for other pleasures inside.
Ooh.
Yes.
And near the lung is where they all come to, warm
The
themselves
lungs
up.
is like Okay, never mind.
All right.
Let's
So
not
what
get
is the
into
book
it.
called again?
It's called Rogues.
Okay. And it's, I mean, there's multiple authors. So edited
Yes.
by, I guess, George R.R. Martin is what you can look for.
You can find it online in India?
Well, I ordered mine off Amazon, so yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Perfect. Thank
Awesome.
you, Alika.
Last recommendation.
Yes, I'm going to recommend a podcast today. And the reason I'm going to recommend this is because everybody's talking about it. And so I was a little like, I don't want to. But I did start listening to it because literally all of my friends were like, have you heard it? Because people come to me for podcast stuff.
Podcast, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think I'll listen to it. But I did, and it's genuinely great. It's by the same guys who made Serial and This American Life. The editor is Brian Reed, who hosts the show as well.
Sweet.
Basically, S-Town stands for Shit Town. It's a small town in Alabama where Brian Reed, after Serial was over, he started getting emails from a lot of people, right? So one of these guys called John B. McLemore wrote to them about how he lives in this shit town in Alabama and it's the worst place. And he's like, you guys need to come down here and see how horrible the situation is.
Shit down Alabama. I had to do that.
So Brian Reed basically was like intrigued, talked to him for a little bit on email and realized that this guy, while kind of wacko, is also very smart and, thinks a lot about the world and really hates his town. He's an old dude. He's like 49 years old, lives with his mother who has Alzheimer's. So at one point, Joel writes to him saying that there was a murder in the town of a young boy. Basically, the kids were partying and they got into a fight and they were all obviously high on many substances and there was a little fight and one guy was murdered and the city basically shut down that news completely. There was no investigation and in fact the guy who did do the murder goes around bragging about it.
Okay.
So Brian Reed is really intrigued by the story. So he's like, maybe I'll come down there. So he comes down and the first couple of episodes basically just have him talking to people in the town who keep saying, yeah, he was bragging outside like this shop out that day. He was telling us he murdered this kid. But what the show, within the first 2 episodes, you know that something is going on that is literally layers and layers under this alleged murder.
There's
and
a
this
mystery
murderer.
to be discovered.
Yes. What was really interesting to me was that when I started listening to it, it's a constructed show, so it means it goes from Brian Reed's voiceovers to telephone calls to multiple voices that keep being introduced, which means you have to pay attention. And
these phone calls on documentaries are the worst.
It's a little difficult
because they
to
actually
follow.
put like voice calls and then you have to be like, what are they saying?
I mean, the clarity is still, it's okay. It's not really bad in this, but it is very difficult to get into like trying to understand who this person is, which is what they're setting up completely. Within the first 2 episodes, there's a big twist.
Okay.
There are only 8 episodes. They put out all the episodes together because it's like, I mean, that's the way of life now.
Yeah,
We binge everything.
Yeah.
Even a podcast. So I have 2 more episodes left. And not only was I extremely surprised, I genuinely felt sadness and I felt like, oh my God.
The whole range.
Yeah, all my emotions were out on display to this podcast. And I have 2 more episodes left, which is my plan for the weekend. Just sit by myself, cry a little bit, listen to this podcast.
Solid weekend plan.
Exactly.
If you don't cry, then what's the point?
Of course, that's life. I scheduled it in my journal. Crying this Saturday.
In fetal position.
But the show is called S-Town. And I really recommend it if you like Serial and if you like any of the This American Life series because they're trying to obviously show you a life that's very, very different from what you think of America and what you think of the world. Where people live in small towns where, gossip is an inherent quality that is just something people do all the time. And in fact, a lot of them are either really poor or really rich, but they all still live the same lifestyle because that is all you can do.
We hear about the redneck belt a lot, but we never really get a glimpse of their life. Everybody just makes like you do your own sister kind of jokes. That's the maximum limit of.
That's true.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about the story is that it subverts what you think it is in the beginning. So I suggest that if you're going to start listening to it, listen to the first 2 episodes together, just so you get the full feel. And then you can obviously go ahead as you want. But the first 2 episodes, gotta listen to it together. It forms a great story arc that is genuinely amazing. And yes, check out S-Town, the podcast.
Where can we hear this?
Everywhere. iTunes.
They've got their own website as well.
Yeah, they've got a website, so you can
out,
listen to it on their website as well. It goes through chapters.
Okay.
And it's very easy as well. You just scroll down as you go along.
It goes through chapters, and it's really well designed. It's a really beautiful website, and every chapter has like an object that like there's a maze and a sand timer and clocks because the guy John McLemore who we're talking to fixes clocks for a living.
Okay.
It's very good, guys. There's a lot of clock metaphors and time ticking metaphors. It's interesting. Yes. S-Town, also called Shit Town.
Also, so let's round up the recommendations.
Yes. So Naveen, you recommended
Death Note by Sugumi Oba. It's an anime series.
I recommended Rogues, an anthology edited by George R.R. Martin and Gardner Dozois.
Awesome. And I recommended S-Town, the podcast.
That's it. Let's take a small break and be back.
Yeah.
Rants, crazy conversations, absurd questions, and everything in between. Cyrus Says is the podcast where I, Cyrus Brocha, let loose and talk to interesting people from across different walks of life. People who are available, actually, not more than that. Catch new episodes every Monday on iTunes, Audio Boom, or the all-new IVM Podcast app. Happy listening, but only for a few minutes.
Let's go into our second segment.
Yes.
So this is going to be really interesting. Today we're going through a list of characters, fictional characters from TV shows or books and movies that inspire us to do something. And I don't mean inspire us in a way of, life-changing, I'm going to now conquer the world. More of, I want to try and dress like this person, or I'm going to get into dance because of this person. I think the first, I was trying to think about this morning, and the first couple of things that I thought of was, there was this book that I read when I was in the 7th standard called Arthur Haley's The Evening News, which is basically like it's a really dramatic book. Okay? In retrospect, it's not an amazing book, but in 7th standard, I thought it was the shit. I was like, this is what I want my life to be. It's called The Evening News, and it's a bunch of news reporters who are being held hostage. Whose kids are being held hostage by terrorists that they're reporting on, and they're trying to investigate. And in 7th standard, I had just started to harbor thoughts of being a journalist. So I just felt like this is the thing, And it was honestly, there's really no other inspiration, because when I was in school, you had the essays, and you had to write those 10-mark answers that you had to. So I remember my science teacher once said to me that you wrote a great answer because it's nice that you didn't know all the words and you wrote it in your own words. You should think about writing. Literally, that's what she said.
Yeah.
For an answer, I wrote about a plant cell or something. And I really thought I should totally be a writer. I went to journalism school after
But
that.
for English teachers, bullshit always biased. They always I wrote a report on some random shit. I remember once about saving a kid on a beach. I didn't even know how to swim. I made this entire jargon, and she look at this. 9 marks. So I'm like this. So I don't buy English teachers selling you as the best thing.
I think I'm also embarrassed by a lot of stuff that I was inspired for. Like in school when people started reading Catcher in the Rye and everybody wanted to be that. I don't want to be that. But J.D. Salinger had another book called Franny and Zoe, where of course these are these super smart kids who the world doesn't understand them kind of shit. And in the book, Zoe, who's the guy, has a door in his room that is covered with quotations, philosophical and spiritual texts that he found inspiring. And I really at some point did that to my closet door, where I would write down quotes from books I read because I wanted to seem so smart, and it was so stupid. We just felt like the cool guy in the book is doing it. I should do it too. People should walk into my closet and know what I'm about.
Yeah.
Then soon it just disintegrated to photos of Harry Potter and shit. So.
And termites eating into the...
Yeah, that too.
Man.
All right.
Do you have anything that you were inspired by?
So I remember when I was in college for the first time, I was hardly 16, and I would come back home every day, and I was still not a TV show fanatic. I would watch a lot of movies, but never really got into proper seasons of TV shows. But Z Cafe back then had the Wonder Years playing on a stretch. They would play 5 episodes on one go, and Diwali was Diwali vacation was entire day, it would be Wonder Years. So I binged on that show, and it spoke to me on so many levels. This is my show, this is my life.
Oh God, really?
So much so that I looked at Kevin Arnold and I would buy Lacoste t-shirts just because I wanted to the sneakers.
Look like a generic American boy.
Yeah, and I didn't even I'm gay, so I don't even have that kind of I wanted a Winnie in my life.
Yeah.
How do I find a Winnie now? Kiss her under a tree, then run away from home and all that. This is me, and because towards the end of the show, you see his angst coming through. You see
I think if you see it at the right time in your life, you would identify with that angst.
Actually makes a difference. Yeah. And my dad and I didn't get along well. He and his dad did not get along. In terms of in principles basically. So I imagine myself running away from home and all that. So I was really into Kevin Arnold. I think I was into Kevin Arnold more than I got inspired by him at this point. But that's the thing, right?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, and I cried when the show got over,
for
for the longest time that character stayed with me, and, in terms of just being this foolhardy character who has nothing right going for him, but nothing wrong either. Things are somewhat good, but things are also sometimes shit.
Correct.
That's the whole point of my life.
Correct.
And then the second character I would like to really say that I got inspired by was Harvey Milk. I watched the movie Milk first instead of researching the life of Harvey Milk, who was a prominent gay activist. Who was he became an activist at the age of 40 when he realized that it's high time now to talk about it. And the thing is that stayed with me for the longest time. He said that if you are gay, then go and talk to your friends and family, and if they know you for who you are, they'll accept you no matter what. And to this day, it's been true. I've told that to a lot of other people, and I'm this is an inspiration that this man has lived. And Sean Penn played the character impeccably.
So good.
And then I found out that he beat Madonna with a bat, so I don't know how I'd feel about that now.
You can pick and choose your inspiration. That's all right.
Yep.
Alika, come on, give us those stories, dude.
Oh man. Okay, so I was a big comics fan growing up, and I'm pretty sure half the population who's ever read a comic, X-Men were my thing. X-Men were my thing in a lot of ways. Okay, so I wanted to be every single X-Man. Okay, I picked up quirks from every single X-Man. Okay, so let's face it, when I saw the cartoon series, Gambit was my favorite. He was pretty much every girl's favorite. Deal with it. So I started trying to talk in a Cajun accent. That didn't work out. I started trying to learn French. That really didn't work out. I bought fingerless gloves and I would wear them everywhere.
I would pay you genuine money if you wore those to office tomorrow.
I will wear them to office.
Monday.
I will wear them to office on Monday for you.
Yes.
I still have
Fingerless
them.
gloves.
I still have them.
The style statement of never.
Yeah, I know. This was a very 90s thing, okay?
Okay.
Fingerless gloves were in then. And then there were one positive thing I got from the X-Men was Kitty Pryde. She was a tech genius and I was like, man, she's so cool. I should be a little bit techie.
Nice.
I bothered learning how to code because of her.
And that's a part of a character that never got into movies, you know?
I know.
Yeah, that's true.
It sucks because one of her biggest assets is the fact that she's really smart with technology and coding and things like that. So I was like, if she can do it, I bet I can do it too. And I bothered learning how to code for a little while. I've probably forgotten most of it, but
When did
learn.
you give up on the learning French and the fingerless gloves, dude? When did you grow out of the fingerless gloves?
About a week after I started it. No, the fingerless gloves are still mine. The French part was about a week after I started it.
Yeah. I think the thing is when you spend money on being something, I think that's surprising. Like when I was in college, and I had just started, drinking and experimenting with alcohol. I think that was the year How I Met Your Mother had just started. So all of my friends would get together to watch it and we thought it was the shit.
Yeah.
And Robin Scherbatsky, again, a journalist on that show, you should be one of those hardcore, I can drink so much and scotch and I know, I really want to be that. I really started to drink whiskey and appreciate it and be like, yeah, I can handle my liquor and that kind of girl.
Yeah.
Unnecessary alcohol problems for that and money spending. But I still feel cool about it. I still feel really cool about it,
And whiskey is good. Whiskey,
I'm okay
if you
with
watch
it.
enough Mad Men, whiskey is the way to go.
I remember when I watched Almost Famous for the first time and I was like, I want that life.
Yeah.
I want to follow
Our producer Abbas's head just went up. That's his all-time favorite movie.
Yeah, it's one of the best and I just wanted to follow musicians and be I always felt like I wouldn't have enough passion to be a musician, but I'd love to follow around other people with passion.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember once,
that's too much effort.
I want to tell a story about Abbas at
Go
this
for
point
it.
because
Abbas, the producer, sitting around.
let's hear
a
I
story
remember
about
once we were wrapping
Staring
up rehearsals
backwards.
and Abbas was leaving, so we're let's watch a movie after this. So Kabir and Abbas went to the washroom and we're let's tell him that we're watching Almost Famous and let's see his reaction. Because first we were going to watch something like John Wick or something. So then we said, let's watch Almost Famous. Abbas comes on, I'm like, we're going to watch Almost Famous. He's like, yeah, which one? I'm like, director's cut. Okay, maybe I'll sit for some time. And he sits down and watches half an hour of the movie and then goes. So yeah, I think, and the movie speaks to him on a spiritual level as well.
I can imagine.
Yes.
It's one of those movies. Alright, so fun stuff, guys.
Yes.
I really want to see those fingerless gloves at some point.
I will get
Me
them.
At some
I
point,
will.
guys.
I'll look for my Lacoste t-shirts as well.
Yeah.
And get some whiskey around.
Yeah, channel your, Kevin Arnold,
Yeah,
dude. It's
Kevin
time.
Arnold, it's
Get
time.
it back.
Yes.
Get that fashion back. All right, so this was our show. You can find the edited episode. It will be out on Monday. And from now on, of course, we're going to be live every Wednesday. We have a schedule, guys.
We have
Every
to
Wednesday
follow.
at 5 p.m. we will be live talking about all kinds of pop culture stuff that we love and enjoy and have maybe ruined us a little bit.
Which is most of the time.
Most of the time. That's pretty much the job of it. All right. So, bye-bye, guys. If you
Bye.
have other recommendations, of course, please find us online. We are IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And that's about it.
Yes.
Find us. Tell us other recommendations, guys.
Yes.
Bye.
Recommend to the recommenders.
Ciao.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts.
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.